welcome to your Saturday story. I have another Katie book for you today, Katie's Adventures, okay, in the gallery. This is called Katie and the Waterlily Pond by James Mayhew. Some of you may recognise the background to this story. It's a very famous picture of a bridge in a very special artist's garden. So let's find out a little bit more about that artist and also what Katie gets up to. More trouble, I am sure. Right, here we go. Katie and Grandma were visiting the art gallery. "Look, there's a competition," said Grandma. "What fun! You have to paint a picture like Claude Monet, the famous artist." "Can I have a go?" asked Katie. "I'm quite good at art." "There's not much time," said Grandma. "The judging is at 3 o'clock today." She'd better get her skates on, hadn't she? Katie and Grandma decided to visit the Claude Monet exhibition for ideas, but Grandma needed a rest first, so Katie looked at the pictures by herself. "I bet I could paint a picture like that," she said, "if I just had some paints." "You can use mine," said a voice. Katie looked around, but the gallery seemed empty. "Over here, ma chérie," said the voice. It seemed to be coming from a picture called In the Woods at Giverny. Katie saw that Grandma was snoozing, so she stepped through the frame and into the painting. We knew that was going to happen, didn't we? "That's a lovely picture," Katie said to the lady who was painting. "My sister Blanche was taught by Monet," said the lady, reading a book. "Claude Monet, the famous painter?" asked Katie. "That's right," said Blanche. "Would you like me to teach you?" Blanche showed Katie how to mix the paints on the palette, how to use the different brushes, and how to fold up the easel. And then she gave Katie some paper to paint on. "Now you are ready," said Blanche. "Off you go, and good luck with the competition." "Thank you," said Katie, jumping back into the gallery with the painting things. Katie looked around for ideas. She saw a picture of some boats on a river called Bathers at La Grenouillère. "I could paint the view from a boat," said Katie, scrambling in. "That would be fun." Yes, I'm sure it would be. There were so many boats to choose from. Katie clambered into one and decided to row down the river a little way to look for the perfect view. It does look quite a pretty scene, doesn't it? I like the way there's all these different colours on the water. Soon Katie found just the right place and began painting. It was going very well until Katie heard a strange gurgling noise. "Oh no!" she yelled. "The boat is leaking!" Katie tried to row back to the riverbank, but it was too far. "Over here!" shouted some bathers on a jetty. Katie managed to reach them just before the boat sank. Katie rescued her painting things, but her picture had floated far away. "Boats are too much bother," said Katie. "I'm going to try something else." Back in the gallery, Katie saw a picture of a street filled with people waving flags and cheering. It was called the Rue Montorgueil in Paris. Katie couldn't resist climbing inside. I think she's looking at this one here. Can you see all those flags flying and all those people lining the streets? Certainly looks very busy and noisy as well. Here she is. Katie found herself on the balcony of a grand hotel. People were waving flags from the windows, while down below a brass band was playing. "I'm going to paint the parade," said Katie. That's a good idea, isn't it? There she is. Can you see her here? Looking at what's happening. She's got her paper and her easel. Katie ran down some steps onto the street and started painting. The brass band got closer and closer. Pa, pa. The band got louder and louder as it marched straight towards her. Suddenly, Katie's picture was caught on the end of a trombone, and it was flipped up into the air, and crash! Her picture was smashed between two cymbals. Oh, gosh. And finally, before Katie could catch it, her picture disappeared into a tuba. That's quite funny, isn't it? Not for Katie, but quite funny. Good grief, said Katie, as the band marched off through the crowds. I need to find a nice quiet picture with no one in it. So she ran back up the hotel steps and into the art gallery. Katie looked around and spotted a lovely painting called Path Through the Poppies. What could go wrong there, she said, as she clambered through the frame. I wonder, it certainly looks a very calm and quiet painting. What could possibly go wrong? Katie skipped through the field of poppies and started to paint. It was so peaceful listening to birdsong and the gentle mooing of a cow. It's rather a large cow, and it has very big horns. Hang on, Katie gasped. That's not a cow, it's a bull. And suddenly she remembered she was wearing a red coat. Bulls hate the colour red, she wailed. Uh-oh. The bull started chasing Katie, snorting as he ran. Katie took a flying leap and jumped into the gallery. Phew, said Katie. She looked back to see her painting stuck on one of the bull's horns. You can keep it, she laughed. Can you see here? Painting stuck on his horn. Ah, now here's a picture that looks very much like what was on the front cover. But time was ticking by, and Katie saw it was nearly 3 o'clock. I'll have one last try, she said. The nearest Monet picture was called the Waterlily Pond. Here goes, said Katie, climbing inside. Wow, look at this. Katie saw she was in a beautiful garden. No boats, no brass bands, no bulls. Perfect, said Katie. Ribbit, said a frog. Hello, frog, said Katie. Keep still and I'll put you in my painting. Can you spot the frog? Have a good look. See if you can spot the frog. He's down here. Look, there he is. Katie started painting, but the frog leapt away across the lily pads, chasing a dragonfly. Come back, said Katie, trying to follow him. But Katie couldn't move. Her feet were stuck in the mud. She fell down with a splat, and her picture fluttered into the pond. Oh, I give up, said Katie, picking up the pond-soaked picture. Painting like Monet is just too hard. Oh, poor Katie. She gathered everything up and went back into the gallery, where she returned the painting things to Blanche. Ma chérie, said Blanche, holding up Katie's soggy picture. That is beautiful. Katie saw that the paints had smudged together, and her picture did look good. I'm just in time for the competition, said Katie. Thanks for the paints and the art lesson. Katie dashed to where the judging was taking place. A water lily pond, exclaimed the judges when they saw her picture. It's just like Monet. You win first prize. And they presented Katie with a lovely set of paints. Thank you, said Katie. I'll have lots of fun with these. What a wonderful painting, said Grandma, when Katie showed her her picture. How did you do it? Well, I had a sort of lesson, said Katie. Would you like me to teach you? That would be nice, said Grandma. But let's go and have a piece of cake first. And so they did. And you see here's another picture of Monet's water lilies in his pond. This picture, the water lily pond, was actually in Monet's garden. he had the most beautiful house in France where he lived, in Giverny, and he spent a few years planting and making the most beautiful garden so that he could paint in his garden. And I've got another book here that shows you a picture of Claude Monet. There he is. That's what he looked like when he was an old man, of course. But he's still got his paintbrush and his easel. Okay. And here is a picture of Monet. I'm not sure who this gentleman is, but can you see he's standing on that bridge with the water lily pond underneath? And here's a close-up of his most famous painting. Now, if you go to the National Gallery in London, you can actually see this painting, and it's beautiful. Got something else to show you too. A few years ago, when I went to Paris, I went to visit Monet's garden and house. It is still there, and you can go and see it. And I wanted to show you some postcards that I bought when I was there. So this is a picture here of Monet's house. You can see it's quite big. He's got lots of flowers in the front garden. Inside his house, this is his studio where he used to do his paintings. These two pictures show his kitchen. He had a lovely spacious house would have a kitchen like that. Look at it, it's like 2 rooms. And look at this, this is what the Japanese bridge looks like today. So the bridge is still there, you can walk across it. I walked across this bridge and couldn't believe I was standing on Claude Monet's really famous bridge. I even did a sketch while I was there, a very quick sketch because it was cold. Would you believe the day I went it was actually snowing? But you can see the bridge here and all these beautiful trees around the outside. Claude Monet is a really, really famous artist. Some of you may have heard of him. So I just thought, after listening to the story, if you want to do a little bit more research about him, okay, this is what you could do. So you could Google him. You may have some art books of your own. And what I've done, I've drawn a water lily pad with the water lily here. I've written Monet's name down the side. And I've written a fact on the water lily. It says, Monet was French. Now I wonder if you could find 4 other facts and write them on your own drawing of the water lily. And those facts will help you to learn about Monet, and you can remember his most beautiful artwork. And one day, you never know, you may travel to Paris, take a little train from Paris to a place called Giverny and go and visit Monet's house and Monet's garden. I'm sure you would love it. It was like being in a painting, just like Katie. I think that's the nearest I'm going to get. I hope you enjoyed the story. Have a beautiful day, a lovely day. Keep well, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.